What's going on, everybody? In this video, I am going to be talking to you about the experience of using CoolBooter on a third generation iPad. Now, I've been using the iPad here with CoolBooter, and I've also been using this iPad mini, which has the official build of iOS 6. This is the Apple official version of iOS 6. It's been running iOS 6 ever since the iPad came out in 2012. I never updated it, never downgraded, nothing like that. It's always been on iOS 6, and it's never seen the light of day of anything other than iOS 6. Now, here, this has been upgraded as far as iOS 7.0.4, so this is dual booted, which means that this is running both iOS 6 and 7 on the here iPad third generation. So that means that this is essentially two separate iPads. And when you would think that this iPad is completely running stock iOS 6, for the most part, that is 100% true. It is running the stock build of iOS 6. And more or less everything that you would do on an iPad, such as talk to Siri. Siri's still there working on the side. You can ask all the questions, and she does everything that she would do on the official build of iOS 6. But it also has like multitasking and everything like that, and all of the applications are there in their entirety. They all work 100% correctly. So if you open up any application, I'm trying to think of one that's not going to disclose any personal information. Every application, when it is indeed opened, is the entirety. It works exactly like the application did in iOS 6. So where do I say that there are some subtle differences? Well, I'm going to show you now a few of them by comparing iOS 6, the official build on the iPad mini, versus the CoolBooter edition here on the iPad 3. So when you pop into settings, this is the number one thing that you'll notice. The vast majority of your settings are there, so you can go into the iPad, see all of your settings over here, and everything primarily is there except for in this area here. So it has the auto lock feature, and you can set it to the same time frames that you could on the official build of iOS 6. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, or never. Same applies here on the official build of iOS 6. You have the same options down here under the auto lock option. Now, right underneath auto lock option is an option to set a passcode, so you can turn a passcode on for the lock screen. That is, for some reason, missing here on iOS 6, on the CoolBooter edition. Now, it makes sense as to why, because sometimes the passcodes can fail and it can lock you out of this particular partition of the iPad, and then there would virtually be no way to get back in. So I understand why that option is blocked out on the CoolBooter downgrade. I find it odd that they did that, though. I feel like that should be a risk that is okay to be taken because, well, they left software update. Granted, when you tap on the software update, nothing happens. It just sits there and buffers, and eventually it will show you that you have iOS 8 able to be installed, but it won't let you do it. It blanks out, and you cannot download and install it, and it says in order to do so, you have to plug your iPad into a computer. That's a nice safety feature. It's the same safety features that you would expect from having it dual booted like this. So I'm very happy that they implemented that. Down at the bottom, you'll scroll all the way down, and you'll notice that there is a menu down here that is missing, and I noticed this after I wanted to restore the home screen layout. So in order to restore the home screen layout, you're able to do all kinds of different things right here. And that allows you to do all these different options like restoring the home screen, resetting your Wi-Fi, resetting your settings and stuff of that nature. So now, in this case, you are able to do that here on the official build, but when you come back over here to this build, for some reason, they left that off of the iPad when you downgrade via CoolBooter. Anyway, moving on, there are a few other small problems that I've noticed, and these come with the downloading of third-party applications. Most of what I have here, if I can manage to get this to stop coming in over and over. All right, there we are. Most of what I have here is official, it works, and it's great. And I have run into a few problems with applications that just do not work. And to give you a demo of that, I have YouTube down here. It opens and immediately crashes. And I've uninstalled it and reinstalled it and tried everything I could to figure out what was wrong with YouTube, and YouTube just won't open. Now, I would be surprised if this was somebody who doesn't have an official iOS 6 device. They would be like, oh, it's just not compatible with iOS 6, it doesn't work. But this video is being filmed on a 5th generation iPod Touch with iOS 6, and this iPad here is running iOS 6. And both of them, the YouTube app works perfectly fine. It launches, it works, you can go through all your videos and everything, it works perfectly fine. So that's just one other thing that I thought I would mention, is that the iPad here on CoolBooter has a few applications that are left unable to render and load. A few of them will open and you can work with them, but when it prompts you to do the sign in, it won't let you sign in. So there's a problem there. I tried to get to my Evernote app for a college course, and I could not load it. I tried over and over and over to get it to load, and it just would not load. It would open, you could go through all the info, and you'd hit sign in, you could type in your credentials, but when you actually hit that sign in button, the app would crash over and over repeatedly every single time. So I eventually gave up with that and decided this is never going to work. Now, it's not just the fact that that happens. Other things I've noticed have been perfectly fine. So through the course of using this, like I said, you can open applications. All the apps work exactly as they do. All of the default stock applications work perfectly fine. The Safari browser is working wonderfully. You can open Safari, browse through the internet, and go through all of that. That works perfectly fine. Facebook and Twitter working perfectly fine. There are some YouTube alternatives that work, such as uPlayer. uPlayer up here, again, works wonderfully. You can go through the YouTube videos and watch them in uPlayer. Of course, you miss out on a few doing it that way, but it also allows you to listen to music in the background, though that's more of a feature that I use on my iPod Touch than on the iPad. Anyhow, overall, it's a great experience. The Cydia tweaks that I have downloaded, such as the live wallpaper that you see here, there's a few others. Those seem to work perfectly fine. They work exactly like they used to. You can do winterboard themes. I don't believe I have any installed. I do not. But you can do the different winterboard themes, and you can also have live wallpapers if you would like to do live wallpapers and stuff such as that. And that explains why it does that. Anyway, you can also do the blurred notification center. So instead of having linen, you can do the blurred. You can pick different tint colors. So I've got a couple different tweaks on here, and they work perfectly fine. I'm not going to open the notification tray and show it to you because I have notifications in there, and those are personal, but you are able to do a lot of different tweaks. I've had a few that haven't worked exactly like I would have liked them to. I had an issue getting Dreamboard to work the other day on iOS 7. I don't know how it fares on this. I've had a few issues with some jailbreak tweaks, but other than that, it's been a great experience using this. I wanted to go ahead and show you that the way to get out of it, if you have done this, you can go back to iOS 7, very simple, hold down the power button, and you just simply slide to power off, just like so. The iPad boots down, and then you can boot back up into the iOS 7 or whatever firmware you happen to be jailbroken on. It'll boot right back up into it and go back to iOS 7. So you'll see the flat Apple logo once again, and this is the side that you're going to do all of your major changes on. This is your main operating system. Right now, CoolBooter is working on something called CoolBooter CLI, which is going to allow you to have the iOS 6 operating system be the main side and allow iOS 7 to be booted as the secondary OS. So the primary can be iOS 6. Right now, your primary operating system is iOS 7, but in a few weeks, they're planning to get it fixed to where you have the ability to boot up and down like that. Also, I've heard that CoolBooter is working on Series 2 of the application, which is going to be a phenomenal upgrade and allow you to do things with the iPod Touch 4th generation. So you'd be able to essentially downgrade it back to iOS 5, just like this here. You could bring it back to iOS 5 or 6 and boot between the two of them. And possibly iPhone 4S support is coming. So anyway, we're back on the iOS 7 side, and things are a little different and a little bit better over here. So that's really more or less what it's like living with an iPad running the CoolBooter software. So if you found this interesting, you want to give it a try, go ahead. I've shown you how. Again, you get the CoolBooter app on this side that allows you to boot in and out of the different operating systems. So that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. If you're looking at checking out CoolBooter for yourself, I highly recommend it. It's a great way to boot two operating systems and essentially have two iPads in one. Now, I do want to go ahead and show you real quick before we close this that it does not prevent you from having a passcode or resetting this side of the iPad. So the primary OS does not get affected by that. So anyhow, thank you guys again for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like down below and let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks for watching.